Hey everybody, it's Vance Farah, www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. One of the things I wanted to touch up on today was just, I guess, media attention. Lately, a lot of media attention has focused on, I mean, if clinical trials ever receive any attention, it's usually when bad things happen or if a drug trial failed miserably and a lot of people got sick or a lot of people died. I mean, it's happened before. But even more so, the biggest attention getting types of trials are these phase one studies where, as we've talked about many times on the blog, healthy volunteers are recruited, and these are usually young college students or people looking to make money, because really that's the only reason for doing these phase one healthy volunteer trials. These are usually the studies that receive the most media attention because it's interesting. I mean, we had Time Magazine that just did like a video blog about clinical trials, and they focused solely on phase one because the other phases are not interesting enough for them to cover. But phase one trials are so unique because there really is no benefit to the participant other than getting money. Unless you're talking about cancer and psych studies, but that's a different story. What they were talking about was phase one healthy volunteer studies where just healthy volunteers are being recruited. They're getting paid thousands of dollars to do studies from 2 to 4 weeks, sometimes even longer. So that's what I'm talking about. More attention needs to be focused on the phase 2, 3, and 4 trials because in these studies you're getting people who actually seek to benefit from the trial and from the actual study drug other than just receiving compensation. So, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any coverage at all on these phase one healthy volunteer studies. Um, Certainly, we do need to talk about that, but that's a small percentage of the big picture. In terms of clinical trial volunteers at any given time, there's probably like less than 10% of all clinical trial volunteers right now, as we speak, are doing a phase one trial. The rest, 90% or more, are doing phase 2, 3, and 4 trials where they're actually seeking some kind of treatment options for their current medical condition. They're still getting compensated, but the sole benefit is not necessarily money. It's finding better treatment or getting better control of your medical care or whatever it may be. It's definitely there's a lot more. It's a lot more complex than just receiving money and bartering your body basically for money, which is what the phase one volunteers do. So my whole point is that you may hear all these things out there about phase one studies, and then you may think that all clinical trials are that way, and they're not. And that's what this blog is for. Hopefully, we can bring enough people's experiences to you so that you can see that clinical trials is much, much more than just healthy volunteers receiving money in exchange for them donating their bodies for however many weeks for science. I mean, you need the phase one studies in order to be able to get to the phase 2, 3, and 4 studies. So I'm not saying that phase one studies are bad. It just is. Phase one studies have a purpose. They exist, and they're getting all the media attention, which I understand because they're looking for ratings. But there's much more going on than just phase one. Much, much more. Phase one is just a small percentage of the overall big picture in terms of clinical trials. So just keep that in mind next time you see a story or watch a video or read an article where they're talking about phase one clinical trials or just clinical trials. They may not mention phase one. Look to see if the people enrolling in the study are doing it just for money, or if they're actually seeking a treatment, then you know that it's not a phase one trial. So something to keep in mind. Clinical trials it's a gigantic industry, and to kind of group all clinical trials into one category of people, guinea pigging themselves for money is wrong. And hopefully we can demystify clinical trials by sharing all parts of clinical trials, not just phase 1 studies. So anyways, let me know what your thoughts are on this. www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thanks a lot.